Thank you very much. You can hear me? Yeah? Great. Distinguished guests, dear friends of the Nordic countries, I am very delighted to be able to introduce today's theme and to welcome you all to a full day dedicated to our fantastic Nordic literature for children and young people. From the very beginning, culture and literature have been a cornerstone of the Nordic cooperation. With an interdependent history and fairly similar languages, books, films, music, and more unite us, allowing us to expand our horizons while still enjoying a cultural experience that we can intuitively relate to. There is a long and strong tradition of children and youth literature in the Nordic region, a tradition that many of today's participants are part of continuing and developing, and I thank you very much for that important work. Promoting reading among children and young people concerns us all. It should concern all of our societies. The ability to read and to be an informed citizen is fundamental for the functioning of our democracies. When we are very young, we learn to read, and a little later on, we read to learn. But reading is not just essential for education. It is also the key to many cultural experiences and to personal development. Yet we all know that reading capacity and the interest in reading among our children and youth are facing challenges. So to address this, it is crucial that we also talk about reading for the sake of pleasure and curiosity, not just because it's useful. And a key to stimulate the interest in reading among our children and youth is to focus on the joy that it brings us. Through literature, we can discover new worlds, new stories, both to escape from our everyday realities and to see ourselves reflected through different perspectives. We must encourage more people to rediscover that feeling we remember so well from our childhood, the feeling of being completely absorbed by a book, sucked into a new world, so very different from being sucked into our endless scrolling that we see today in so many spaces. The Nordic Council of Ministers contribute to this through the Nordic Council's literature prizes. These prizes put the spotlight on Nordic literature and promote Nordic authors, and they inspire and contribute to spreading the joy of reading across the Nordic borders. The Children and Young People's Literature Prize is a younger sibling to the very prestigious Nordic Council's Literature Prize. It was first awarded in 2013 as an initiative by the Nordic culture ministers who wished to strengthen and promote children and youth literature throughout the Nordic region. The winners and nominees for the prize are excellent examples of the range and quality of Nordic children's literature today. The prize is shared between author and illustrator. A quick look at the books will show you why. The way images and text interact, the books are like small works of art. And the wry Nordic humor often shines through in both illustrations and text. So what else can we say about today's author? Well, in the tradition of, for example, Astrid Lindgren and Tove Jansson, two of the earlier Nordic giants of children's literature, whom we will also be learning more about later today, they have in particular one thing in common. They take children and young people and the way they think and their thoughts very seriously. They entertain and amuse, but they don't shy away from difficult topics. And maybe this is one aspect that sets Nordic children's literature apart from that of other regions. And this is also something we will discover more on later today. And I'm looking very much forward to that discussion. The many varieties of the picture book, the young adult novel, and the graphic novel are very well represented among this year's nominees for the Nordic Council's Literature Prize for Children and Young People. Among the nominated books, we find picture books about war and longing, one with playful rhymes and charts, graphic novels, both humorous and serious, a book about fully fledged ADHD, stories of a house full of secrets and a journey in a rubber boat in a completely different world. The participants in today's events are all wonderful examples of Nordic children and youth literature, and they hold the key to promoting reading for the children of today. A huge opportunity and a huge responsibility. We're so happy to have you all here today at the Nordic Pavilion, and I hope that you will leave this event both entertained, engaged, and inspired. Thank you so much for coming. I look very much forward to the discussions. Thank you.
Förlåt, ja, jag tror att det kan... Nej, det behöver ni inte förresten. Nej, det behöver ni inte. Vi pratar ju bara English. Yes. Yes. Both of you ladies have been out in the world representing Nordic children's books. Would you say that there is a sort of a Nordic feeling or tone when it comes to picture books?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what does it consist of?
My answer would be quite the same as Elina talked about earlier, that this way of shifting the power from the adult to the child. And especially I can see it in the Swedish literature, like Emma has used it a lot, but also in Finland. And then, for example, Danish books, they are really this extreme about, like they're going really wild. And so yes, it's the power and of the children, and there was something else as well. I can't think of it right now. Maybe you want to answer. But a lot of themes that feel quite nature, and and also this that you pick up maybe even political subjects in children's books, and something that you maybe don't think of really often is that if something happens in society, children's book is the first media or form of art maybe that picks it up much faster than literature for adults. So really for me it's a form of communicating important subjects to me in children's books, even though it wouldn't maybe seem so. So that's the first idea, but for me it's my children's perspective is one thing, but another important thing for me as an artist is communicating important subjects. Yeah.
What about you, Emma?
Oh, can I add something? I don't know. I totally agree with you and also what Elina said before. I can just nod my head, and I agree. And I think that when I'm home in my atelier, I'm quite occupied with what I do myself. So it's when I come here to Japan or when I go abroad, then I see like Swedish literature and my colleagues in a clearer way.
You have to have a bit of a distance in order to see what...
Yes, actually. Mm-hmm. You have to turn your head from here to look. Then I can see the contours of what we come from. And I agree what you said. Exact. Like
You're
that.
so enormously technically skilled, both of you, as illustrators. So you could, I think, do almost anything when it comes to pictures. But you have decided to work with picture books. What is so fascinating about picture books as a medium?
You asked what we think is...
Yes. So why picture books? You could be doing other types of illustration, and you are almost only doing picture books.
I think for me it comes from childhood. My grandmother was an artist, and she was a modernist, and she was a painter, and really this controversial person maybe, and she did a lot of traveling, and she brought she took care of me quite a lot as a child when I was a child, and she brought home from a trip. She brought home a lot of children's books, picture books, and she had good taste. So they were always really nice and high quality and nice pictures and illustrations. And I remember, like from really early age, I was really studying these books, the pictures, and even like what kind of perspective the artist was using, and that impressed me a lot. So I mean, it was the first thing I said I wanted to be as an adult, a children's book illustrator, and then I forgot it maybe in between, but I came back. But for me, the most important thing is this communicating thing. I still haven't written my own text like Emma has. I've always just illustrated other authors' stories, but I've chosen those stories that feel really close to me. So I'm using this as a platform to just tell what is bothering me or what makes me happy or what subjects we need to discuss.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Emma? You both illustrate other authors' works and you do your own books as well.
Yes, I do. And the question from the beginning was why picture books?
Yes.
Well, for me, as a child, you're starting to draw before you're starting to write. I guess that's the most common way. And my first language, I should say, is the pictures, the drawings. It's a perfect language for me as a shy and quite quiet kid, or very quiet kid. It was a perfect way to express myself when I was a kid. And then I started to write when I started school. And then it became like two things I loved, two ways for express myself. So I think that's a perfect way for me to express the pictures and the written text. So I just stay there. I want to be there. That's my language, and that's how I do it. Like,
yes, I also think that it's quite maybe common for artists that we are quite shy or introvert in some way. And this is the way for us to communicate, to get out all the things we want to say. And also, I can relate to that. Also, I was really quite, at least shy child, but I had these long tentacles, so they say, like. So I was just absorbing everything. So I think I really absorbed much more than maybe my more extrovert friends. Mm-hmm. And that became useful when I became an illustrator.
Yeah, I can really relate to that as well. And I think about being a shy person or a shy child. That's not the same as being a person that doesn't have anything to say. No. I mean, you just do it in a different way, a quiet way, but you have a lot to say. That's not the same. Because I think that you can be like, you're not fair to the shy children when you think about them as persons who don't know what to say.
No. I think most artists, we have a Norwegian writer here who nodded. So I think this is very common amongst artists and creative people in different genres, actually. We were talking about Akira-ko-san about having a sense of closeness to traditional folk tales. And I was thinking about your book, Jenny, Flickan som ville bli varg, the girl who became a wolf.
Yeah, it's kind of a word game, so it's difficult maybe to translate this book, but yeah, maybe you can... It's called The Girl Who Wanted to Become a Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
But in Swedish, it sounds like The Girl Who Became Angry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole actually point of the story. Yeah.
because this is, I mean, this is the little girl there.
Yes, this
Yes.
is the girl.
And tell us about the situation.
Oh my God, this was made a long time ago. I almost forgot, and I had troubles looking at the pictures because it feels like, oh my God, they're so old and I don't like them anymore.
We
but
like them. We like
No,
them.
but,
It's okay.
Yeah, this. But yes, she's called Milda, this girl. And she's this kind of shy child, but she's, of course, looking for a friend. So in this book, she becomes friend with that girl there. I have to check here her name. That long ago. Ilma, yes. Ilma. And as you can see, Ilma has problems with sharing toys. So there's this conflict between Milda and Ilma, but it all builds up around this misunderstanding when Milda says that she became angry. No. Ilma says that she became angry, and Milda hears, "I became a wolf."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So
this
maybe
is the thing. And
That's the
Ilma
thing, yeah.
also, she destroys a toy for the protagonist, and then she becomes really angry.
Really,
I
really.
think it's so clever the way you concentrate our view because you have this black and white part of the picture, and then in the corner you have all the colors on the children.
Yeah, maybe also this is a thing that we're concentrated on the children, and the adults in the back, they are turning their backs and they're black and white. Yeah, and everything is happening here. So the adults are not that important.
And Ilma destroys a toy, and this happens.
Yeah, this is the part
She-
when she becomes really, really angry.
And she becomes a wolf.
And this
Almost.
Yeah. So this is the previous pages, and then
You have to look at it. We'll put the book somewhere
We'll put the
afterwards so you
book,
can
yeah.
look at it.
I know. Sorry for not explaining well, because it's such a long time since I looked at this book last time. But then the point is that when you turn pages, then you turn and you get this wolf's mouth.
Mm.
So I tried to use the format of the book also to get this really scary, like sudden impression, like a movie, kind of.
And it comes all of a sudden. So for a person who reads this book for the first time, it's a bit shocking.
It's shocking, yeah.
And
So
you
that-
understand that all of a sudden this girl has become so enormously angry.
Enormously angry, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
When you read texts, you said that you illustrate, you don't write the books yourself. When you find a text that you want to illustrate, do you see the pictures that you would like to do, or do they sort of grow within whilst you are working?
Yeah, maybe I don't see them right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually say that if making a book takes 9 months, maybe the 3 or 4 first months, it's just working in my head, like walking around with the story and try to build the story in your head. And then I start the sketching phase, and then I'm trying out different pictures. But I wouldn't say that I see, maybe I get an idea, but I never see the final picture in my head. And it's also a part of the why I love this work so much, because I'm playing and I'm like surprising myself, and that's the best part of this job when I'm working with this technique that I use. I both draw and paint, and then I mix them together in my computer.
Do you always do this?
Sorry?
Do you always use that technique?
Yes. Yeah, maybe I shift from watercolor to gouache, sometimes pencils, but I always do these different elements, and then I combine them in the computer. And this gives me the possibility to be playful, and I save time, and the best thing is that I surprise myself. and so I wouldn't like to miss that. Like,
What about you, Emma? How do you work?
With the pictures,
Mm-hmm.
when I
When you illustrate your own books, of course, and then I
Yes.
think you have an idea from the beginning of what you would like to achieve and what you would like to do.
yeah,
But when you illustrate other people's works,
yeah.
do you get images that, this could be done this way, or do you try it out whilst you go along?
At first, I have to read the text quite a lot of times to get to know it. I think about it at the same way that you're getting to know a person. I have to know it to make a portrait of it, because I think what I do when I illustrate to give pictures to someone else's text is like doing a portrait of it. And then I have to know it. I have to know its colors. Who are you, kind of. And that takes time, and I must give it time. I must give it quite a lot of time, like a few months, sometimes a few weeks, and it's different, depending on which text it is. Sometimes you know someone quite fast, also, and that's wow, a wow situation, kind of. But I know mostly it takes time. And then I sit down in my atelier and I try it out, try the colors, and do sketches and get closer to who this is that I'm about to work with. And I mostly use gouache and graphite pen when I work.
Here we have one of your works. This
Yes.
is the bag.
The bag, yes,
Yes,
the plastic
and
bag.
Påsen, and you have the children inside of the bag picking
Yes.
out things. What is happening?
What just happened here in Påsen is that the children has been to their grandpa a few days, and when they got home, the parents has been cleaning.
And
They
taken away
say
a lot of
kind
things.
of proud parents who tell their children that they have been cleaning, and the children get suspicious right away, and they ask their parents, "What did you throw away?" And the parent says, "Oh, nothing, just unimportant stuff and trash and things that you don't play with anymore." And the children finds this big plastic bag in the hallway, and they carry it into the room again and says, "Trash, really?"
They realize
this
that
is not trash. This is our important toys and stuff and memories, and So after a while, the bag is empty, and everything is where it should be again.
Reminds me of a similar situation in our home when we were trying to clean the house, and our children were crying and saying, "You're throwing away our childhoods." So I guess this is a familiar situation for many. And this is the gruppen, the pit.
Yes, the pit behind the gym.
And here we have look how concerned the grown-ups look. And they're
Yes.
looking down into the pit where the children are playing. Why are they concerned?
Yeah, because you can hurt yourself in this pit, or you can die, actually, they think, the grown-ups. They hate the pit, and the children loves the pit, being there, as you can see. They think it's hilarious being there every lunch break, every break, because this is at the schoolyard also. And I think the grown-ups, they like to have control and be safe. And, they want to have some coffee and some peace and quiet.
So what kind of stories, I mean, these are two stories of your own. What
Yes.
kind of stories do you want to make into picture books?
When I'm writing myself. I don't think that I have a theme that I can answer you in one word or such. I want to write about stuff that interests me, that I'm curious about myself. That's quite like I think of it as an egoistic way of work, but I think that it has to be like that for me, because if I'm not amused myself or interested myself, I don't think it is going to be good. Because as you said earlier, it takes a lot of time, maybe 9 months, a half a year or so. So if you're going to
invest that much time,
if you're going to be with a text for so long, or for an idea, you have to be curious about the subject, about the text.
Lisa, your sister, said that her works often circle around the question of who is in power. And in your case too, I think that it's a lot about children's power. I mean, how powerless is a child? And what can a child do when grown-ups say, for instance, you shouldn't be playing in the pit, it's dangerous.
But I find it interesting that in your picture books, the children are like, they're a group, they're a community. That's for me, that's really nice. They are on one team always. So it's this really democratic way of seeing
yes,
things.
Certainly in this book. It's the group of children, even if there is a narrator, but that's not the importance. It's just the voice from the group of kids. So it's almost that it's in this book, it's the children, it's the grown-ups, and it's the pit. So I think of it as 3 characters almost.
And when it comes to you, Jenny, I think that very often you have very huge existential questions, and very often concerning children's way of looking at the world, which contrasts rather often to the grown-ups' way of looking at the world. Here we see Freya, the little girl here.
Maybe it just became like that. That quite many of the themes are quite serious and but big existential philosophical questions.
So we are on an island. Freya and her family is there, and there is a threat. There is a snake, a viper snake, that you can see there. It sort of lurks there behind the stone, and the parents are very concerned how to do about the viper snake, and Freya's father kills the snake, and Freya is devastated.
Yes. Also here, it's one way of the children have one way of looking at it, and the adults maybe another. So it's a book about violence, I think, but also about nature, and there's no clear answer who is right and who is wrong, and it's also a question about Freya and her father's relationship. Can she trust, can she love a snake murderer? And of course the father wants to protect his children. The snake is venomous and potentially really dangerous for kids. But then you think of, actually all animals, quite few animals are aggressive. Like even this snake, it just wants to live and it doesn't attack you unless the snakes or the children are in threat. So maybe you could find another way of staying away from the snake. But the snake here is coming too close to the family, so the father decides to kill it. And somehow I wanted to show this, how it looks for Freya. We don't have the picture here, but it looks quite violent when he takes his stick and bangs the snake with it. And then I wanted to show here how the snake looks when it's killed, actually. And I know when this came out in America, it got censored. I couldn't have the snake like this. They wanted less blood. And I remade the picture so for the public, because I trusted my editor that she knows what goes there. But I thought it was quite interesting because there is so much violence in America, and they carry guns and everything. But then in a picture book, you couldn't show anything about this violence in nature.
It says a lot about the way you look on children and what children can perceive or not perceive.
Yeah.
We're a little bit late. We started a bit late, so I think we'll just very fast look at the rest of the pictures. Now this is...
Yes, I think you asked me to bring pictures from when you show a Scandinavian view. Yes. Or strong feelings. Yes. Mm-hmm. So this is just something that maybe nature and the sea is often present in the Scandinavian books. And this is from a book called...
Vem bestämmer?
Vad bestämmer jag? What do I decide? And it's quite a philosophical book. And
what does a child decide?
Yeah, really. And these big questions, they emerge when they are at this by the sea. Maybe that's a place where you start thinking about big questions in life. So the boy here asks his father, what do I decide? He sees all these waves, huge waves. How many waves? Who decides how many waves there are? And they talk about different things that maybe the child or the adult or somebody else decides.
I think it's a hugely philosophical book, which has many, many layers and can be read by grown-ups as well as children. This, Emma, is såret.
Yes, såret.
Watashi ga kega o shitahi. It's translated kega o shitahi, yes. And it's translated by Akirako, who you met, and very newly published, I think, in Japan in May this year. So this is a schoolyard. We have a person who has hurt himself. You can see the person there bleeding.
Yeah, I cut him in half. Yes, he's injured there after being playing wildly at this table. With his friends at the schoolyard.
And everyone comes running.
Yes.
He's hurt. How hurt is he?
Yes,
do we have to take him to hospital? So all of a sudden he becomes the talk of the day.
Yes, the talk of the day.
And then as the story goes along, the wound, of course, heals. And then everything returns to normal again.
Yes.
Yes, and this is not so very easy for him to take.
No, it's like a crisis for him, identity crisis. Who will he be when the sårskorpa?
When the wound heals?
Yeah, when the wound heals, who will he become?
No longer the wounded and injured person.
Not any longer the talk of the day.
It's a wonderful story. It's very humoristic, as very many of both of your stories, I think. And this is the äppelstunden. Äppelkänslan. The feeling of apple.
Yeah, the apple feeling.
What is the apple feeling?
It's a mix between feelings. This is a book written by Lisen, my sister, and it's illustrated by me. Mm-hmm. And it all started with us discussing this apple feeling that kind of we invented after me being... I visited Lisen in where she was living back then, a few years ago, in Gothenburg. And I brought... fika, sweets and crackers, and I brought apples also, but we didn't eat the apples. I left them behind when I went home to my place, and when Lisen saw the apples that I left, she felt now I'm describing her feelings. For me that's kind of embarrassing but she felt love and she was missing me, And this mixed between when you can't tell a person that you're missing, that you actually miss them, and this apples becomes like a symbol of a lot of feelings that you are carrying, but you don't have a word for it. So the apple feeling is a mix of feelings, and in this book it also contains a bit of a shame, I think, and maybe guilt, because in this book the mother and the child also had an argument the day before. So the child in this book also remember the apples when she sees them. She remembered this arguing situation, and she feels kind of guilty for being problematic the day before, when they should have be eating the apples.
A situation which I think most grown-ups and children can relate to.
Yeah.
And let's finish with one of the most talked about books in recent years, which is your illustration of Jens Mattsson's book Vi är Lion, We Are Lions. This was a Nordic Council Literary Prize winner, and maybe one of the most successful. It has been a huge success in the Nordic countries. This is an enormously touching story. You see the two boys who are always playing lions. They are on the savannah, and they are very, very dangerous. But you can also see a mother taking care of one of the boys, and he's not feeling well.
Yeah, it's these two siblings that are playing. They have really this wild imagination, so they are playing lions, like a made-up word they misunderstood from English, that they are wild animals on the savannah. And then suddenly, or slowly, one of the older brother becomes ill, and doesn't have the energy to play anymore. So it's quite a touching story about the younger, like the younger sibling that admires his older brother so much and tries to get him to play and continue this play, and he gets worse and he stays at the hospital, but still the little brother is there trying to play the same game. Well, let's go in the savannah and hunt deers or whatever. They hunt antelopes, and they are there, and then they are quite they are children, so they conquer this tragedy in a quite different way than adults. The adults are more, they show their emotions, are really sad, but the children are continuing to play, and then the end is quite open. What happens then?
But we realize that the older brother is very, 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 very seriously ill.
He is very, very seriously ill.
So as a grown-up, you read this story and you think that there's only one ending, whilst children read it in another way, I've noticed. So they don't, for them, it doesn't feel that tragical, but for us grown-ups, it's a hugely touching and very, very emotional story.
It is. I was hesitating when I got this manuscript and was asked to illustrate it. I wondered if I could do it in the right way, and is it a too sad story? But then when it was published, it was really well received, and so many people who are in this situation have told us that it's super important for them to have books like this. And also I think it was sometimes you say that Nordic and Scandinavia picture books are quite brave. So this was also, in a way, a quite brave way of showing, like using people, not animals, when you talk about death. Like, so not trying to hide behind something, like just showing these kids who really sometimes do get really ill.
I have been talking about how much we can trust the children to take in and to perceive. And I was always thinking about Tove Jansson. I met Tove Jansson as a very small child. She had a friend who lived in the same suburb as I was living. So one day I saw her on the town square, and my father said, "Go and talk to Tove Jansson. This is the chance of your life." And he pushed me forward. And you understand, when a grown-up says, "Say something important to that person," you become almost mute. So the only question that came up in my mind was, I was so scared of Morran. You who have read Tove Jansson, you know that Morran is a hugely scary thing, that she moves forward and everything turns to ice around Morran. So I said, why is Morran so scary? And this very tiny person with a huge hat that looked like Snufkin's hat just folded up the hat, looked at me and said, "But child, if I would say that the world has only light and goodness in it, I would be lying, you know." So I think you understand as well as I do that there are scary things in the world. And I think this is very good as an answer. Yes, there are scary things in the world. We know that there's life and death, even small children know that. So picture books can convey so much of feelings and also answers and questions to very, very huge existential matters, I think. Thank you so much, Emma Oddbåge and Jenny Lykander.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Exactly like that.
Tomorrow we will dedicate a whole day to crime fiction, but two of our world-famous best-selling Nordic crime writers are already here. Because not only do they write crime, they also write children's books. Welcome up on stage.